Rules of Engagement by Keyla Damaer. KeylaDamaer.com. Halazar. Manderian year 2462. Halazar rose from the wooden chair, tugging at her shirt. The green mourning band she'd wrapped too tightly around her left arm cut into her scales on purpose, distracting her from the grief that threatened to crush her spirit. Danyar was gone, his funeral over. She wished she could archive the event as she would a status report. Her brother's death meant not only pain and sorrow, but it also brought change. Something she was not yet ready to face. Perhaps this is part of my mourning process, she told herself, but the expressions on her parents' faces made her gut move. We must talk about the future, her father said, an omen of bad things to come. He stood by the polished wooden table in the common room of their farmhouse, a muscle-bound 80-year-old carrying too much weight around his abdomen. The daylight streamed in through the wide windows, making the curtains dance in the warm breeze of the early Mander prime afternoon. A visceral hatred grew inside her, and she knew herself well enough to give it a name: rage. Rage towards her brother for leaving her in this mess. Rage towards her parents for bringing up the future. And rage towards life for being so complicated. Her father sat, his black eyes pressing her to do the same. She resigned herself to obey. He said, with Danyar's death the farm. Halazar only half listened to his words. She remembered the song. As the last offspring of the Mevas family, she would inherit the farm. But what would a soldier want with a farm? And he agreed to marry you. Her father's last words slapped her back to reality. She'd been prepared for a lecture about her duties towards the farm, but this went beyond all of her expectations. At 16, she was already sexually mature and had experienced mating rituals with a cadet or two, but a betrothal wasn't in her plans. The conversation reminded her of a scene from a comedy digibook she'd read as a child, except there was nothing amusing about this. Her father's eyes flickered down to her hand and back up, staring at her face. She forced herself to stop tapping her fingers on the table. Father, with all due respect, I do not intend to abandon my training as a cadet. Hal, don't be unreasonable. Karis Partak has agreed to wed you, her mother said, her voice calm as a surgeon's after a successful operation. Adar Mevas stood by the window on the table's right. The green, fitted robe enhanced her curves and accentuated her waist and hips. Her long black hair was pulled back from a still beautiful face. Halazar's hand resumed its tapping. Why would a member of the Partak family...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?